Okay, we are starting to be live. You guys know how I do. I like to, wait until, and there it is, the picture goes big and I know I'm live for sure, so I don't start talking about content before we are rocking and rolling. How are you guys doing today on this beautiful 420 Wednesday? Weather's great out here in Texas. A little misty, but other than that, it's pretty dang good. Thank you so much for listening to me and just joining this. Man, the way I like to look at what I'm trying to do. Again, I'm no one special. I'm just your average guy, but I think what I'm trying to do with all this stuff, all these videos I post about, client questions, financial tips, just my investment journey as well. I think I just want to start like a revolution when it comes to, you know, people's financial education and people's financial IQ. I, and I don't want to get political or anything, but I think, man, a lot of people have woken up to, kind of this weird situation we're in where maybe we're not being told the whole truth sometimes, and maybe we're kind of dumbed down a little bit, or like we're fed these news stories that maybe aren't accurate, and fed these narratives that turned out to not be true. I think the same thing with that. I'm not going to go too deep in that because I don't want to lose you guys because you think I'm some crazy, tinfoil hat wearing guy. Um, but I know a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about. So I don't have to go too much for you guys to be like, aha, I know exactly what he's talking about and I'm with him. I think the same thing that's happened, there I guess more people are waking up to. I think the same thing about your financial education as well. Most people kind of have this understanding now that the way we're taught in schools, education, even college, man, college is supposed to be something different than what it is. But we're taught to be employees. You know what I mean? We're taught to think like we are back in the old days of factory working, when we're not really supposed to think. We're not really supposed to, use our brains. It's just supposed to do the task. Let me do the task. I'm gonna do the task, and man, I don't know about you guys, but I learned so much about finance after I left high school, even after I left college. Again, I went to college. I have two associate's degrees. I've got a bachelor's degree, and I've got my master's degree. Um, I learned more about money reading books, through life experience, through my business, than I did through those, what is that, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, like 18 years of school? That's crazy. 18 years of school, and I learned more about money and finance and financial education through reading books and through going to seminars and through my own personal experience with business than I did through the 18 years I was in school. And where I'm kind of going with this is what this is for me, this is like my financial IQ, like like I don't, what are even the right words? So like a revolution type, thing where it's just like I want more people to wake up. I want more people to realize the things that, what I mean, some of the strategies that we're being told or not being told, they're out there, and you can do it, and you can be a part of it. And this is for you, and you don't have to think like an employee anymore. You could start thinking like a business owner. You can start thinking like an investor. You're worthy of that. And that's what I hope I get to do for you guys. I hope I get to wake more of you guys up, and you can start thinking for yourself as, oh, I'm not going to be this guy or this girl that just goes to work 9 to 5 for the rest of my life and then I die. Right? Um, there's nothing, man, there's nothing more sad than that, I think, in my opinion, than to just, spend your whole life working for someone else, never really get ahead, maybe make a little bit of money, maybe have $100,000 in savings or your investments, And then you get older, you're tired, and you die. And you didn't really live. And you had all these dreams and all these plans and all these, visions for your life and for your family and these things that you wanted to accomplish before you died. And then, as you guys know, time flies by so fast. It is, boom, I'm 33. Man, I feel like I was 18 like yesterday. And I was just joining the military for the first time. And I'm going to boot camp. And then I'm, 19 or 20 and I'm going to my first deployment. And but I'm 33 now. And so this time, it flies by so fast. And I know for me personally, I wanted something better for myself. And I know for a lot of you as well. There's an inner voice that is calling to you, that's telling you you want more. You want to be more. You want to experience more. You want to travel more. You want to bless more people. And it's calling to you, and it's calling to you every day, and yet you're punching your time card and going in to work and doing the 9 to 5 gig and never getting ahead. Wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. This is for you. Okay? This is for you. I want you to know that. I want you to feel it right here. Right here in your heart. I want you to go, there's nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5, but I have to start seeing and envisioning other possibilities for my life. Other dreams that I want to get done. I need to figure out plans and strategies on how to get there and how to do those. If not, brother, sister, I don't have to tell you, time is going to fly by. It's going to go by, and it's continuing every single day, going by and going by. And the more that you live on this unconscious, just kind of going through the motions mentality, the faster it's going to slip by. And everything that you wanted to do, everything that you wanted to be, you wanted to experience, you wanted to accomplish, it's gone. I don't want this to be a doom and gloom, but a lot of you guys got to wake up. No one's coming to save you. There's no one that's going to come when you're, still doing the same thing 20 years from now and haven't accomplished the goals that you wanted to accomplish. They're not going to come to your house and be like, hey, come here, Johnny. I know you wanted to get this done. Let's go do it together. It's not happening. It is not happening. We control that. We have to be the ones that say, no, I'm going to get this done. Man, I had a big shift in my life when I realized that I am the hero in my story. I don't know why I didn't get this. For the longest time, I was a character in other people's stories. And I was content with that. You hear what I'm saying? Like, have you ever just played it small when you're around other people and didn't say what you wanted to say, and you never really gave your preference on where you wanted to eat or what you wanted to do for the day, or vacations you wanted to take, or your dreams? You just kind of stayed quiet in the corner. Do you know what I mean? Can anyone attest to that? Can kind of relate to that? I used to do that. I used to play it small, and I used to, man, even when I knew the right answer, or when I had something interesting to say, or I don't know, like I had input on that, and I had something, something that was going to add value. I would play small because I was living, I was being the backup dancer, right, to someone else's, someone else's performance. I was the co-star, or not even the co-star, I'd say. I was a back. I don't even know what you call them. Just a person in the background in the movie, a whatever character, a background character, whatever they call it. You know what I mean? That was me, just in the background. And someone else is living their life. They're the main star in their movie, and I'm just in their movie. Um, you know, just doing whatever, handing coffee to people. You know what I mean? When you kind of see them, you kind of see them in those movies. The people that they're like really no credits to. They're just kind of doing their line, not looking at the camera. Yeah. Um, and it changed my life when I woke up to that, and I realized, I'm playing it small because I want people to like me because of my insecurities of not, wanting, for me wanting people to like me and not wanting to stand out or be, um, to me, in fear of people would reject that, and man, I gotta say this, there's nothing more beautiful than you being your authentic self and you showing up, and with that you might lose some friends, you might piss some people off. Those people were just sucking the life out of you anyways. Like, hear my heart here. Like, those people that get offended by you being you and you being the light and you just being authentically yourself, like, those people are just sucking the life out of you anyways. Like, it's good that you lose them. They're the, picture this in your mind, like, they're the, like, chains wrapped around your body, holding you back, and all that weight as you're trying to go forward and forward. Whenever you start being yourself and they start to pull against you more, let them go. Break the chains off you. Let that weight back there, let it fall off. Brother, sister, let it fall off. And be your beautiful self. Um, I don't know why I went on that tangent. Maybe it was just God trying to share that with one of you guys. I don't know, but that wasn't what I was going to talk about. But that just hit my heart, and so um, whoever you are, I know that really wasn't financial tips. I've got some financial tips here for you, but I just think God put that on my heart just to share with you guys. If you're not being your authentic self, and you're scared to. I think God's telling you right now to just be your authentic self. Be around people that love you for being your authentic self, and it might take some time to find those people, but those people they're going to take you to the next level in your happiness, in your joy, in your fulfillment, in everything. And so, again, I apologize for kind of going off script, but that is, I don't know, I just felt like God was putting that on my heart. And so, going back, financial tips, Wednesday. This is my fourth financial tips video, and the first tip I have, and I'll kind of go over a couple tips on this because a lot of people say this, but they don't really tell you how to do it or why to do it or whatever the case may be. First tip is create an additional source of income. Now, why is that important? There's many reasons why that's important, right? For most of my clients, from what I've seen, is when they have their one job, they create zero margin to be able to invest. And so, and I know that's I'm 100%, let me kind of put this out here. I'm 100%, I believe in 100% personal responsibility, right? That's who I am. That's how I live my life. That's how I try to help other people live their life as well. I'm not the guy that goes, poor me, or no, it's not my fault. It's their fault. It's their fault why I'm not there. Or their fault why I'm not there. I don't believe in that. I think that's crazy. I think if I'm not where I want to be, it's because I'm not doing what I should be doing. or I haven't figured it out yet, or I haven't taken the time to learn a new strategy, or I haven't taken the time to invest in something. Like that's how I see it. I'm not saying you have to believe that, but that's just kind of how I see it. And so um, when people have that one source of income, they they tend to live on that margin, right? They tend to live on, hey, if I make $5,000 a month, I'm going to spend $4,800, and so I'm going to have a $200 cash flow. Well, how long is it going to take you to be able to build up enough money to buy an asset that's going to really cash flow for you and change your life? It's going to take you 20 years. It's going to take you a long time because you live so tight. Um, and one thing I've realized, man, it is so hard to change. Not change. It's so hard to coach, right? I'm not a change expert. I think of myself as a coach. I look at where you're at and I try to just give some insights and go, hey, and ask the right questions and go, what do you think about this? Could you possibly cut this? How would this help your life? Like I love to ask the right questions so that you can give the right answer. Because you know what's best for you. You know you better than I'll ever know you. We know ourselves way better. And so the reason I say get a second source of income is because most of the time it's really hard to coach these people on things to give up, versus just trying to create another income. And then in the beginning when they create it, telling them, hey, no, don't build any expenses in this. Just keep this cash flow. Keep your spending habits the exact same, and then the cash flow you make, invest that. It's so much easier to do that than being like, hey, dude, you need to stop eating McDonald's. You need to stop, buying $200 worth of, clothes every month. Like, it's so hard to convince those people because they've been doing it for so long, and it's like a habit. Like, no, every month I go to Kohl's, they're probably going to Kohl's, they're going to Dillard's, or they're going wherever, Amazon, and I'm going to drop $200 on these new shoes. And so I'd say your first step, your financial tip would be get another source of income. And I mean, you can do that through market investing. So, take that money and start investing in something. Do a long-term strategy. If day trading is a little harder if you have a job, because most of the day trading hours that you're going to make your money are not when you get off work, right? They're going to be as soon as the market opens, maybe a couple hours after it opens, you kind of see what's going on, and then day trading really makes sense, or when the market first opens. But during closing hours, it's going to be harder for you to make decent amount of money, and it's really easy to lose money kind of playing that strategy. And so I wouldn't necessarily advise day trading unless you're at a computer desk and you have time to kind of day trade, right? It's different. If you're doing something where you're in the field, probably not going to advise day trading. I would advise long-term trading. So what that means is you're investing for the long term. You're not buying and selling every day or every week or whatever the case may be. You're buying and then you're selling maybe in a year or two, right? So it's different strategy. I would say IBC. That's one of my core beliefs in everyone's financial portfolio. Not everyone. I take that back. In healthy, how about this? People that it makes sense for. People that it makes sense for, I always recommend an IBC policy. And so, because it creates cash flow. It's an additional source of income with you having to do zero work. And you get the benefits of the asset, and the asset pays for itself, so it turns out to be free. And so I always advise, like, if it makes sense for you, if it's gonna be cash flowing for you, if it's gonna give you a return on investment within 7 years, I always advise like an IBC policy, because you're covered if something happens, and it's gonna create cash flow for you. So if you're ever worried, if you need, instead of getting a second job where it's gonna be your time, this is literally giving you cash flow like a second job, but you're doing zero work. And so it's pretty cool. The second would be side hustle. Again, this is going to take your time, but for that additional income, you know what I mean? Do a side hustle. Do a, what is Gary Vee? If you guys ever listen to Gary Vee's big on garage selling. He goes to garage sales and he buys stuff that might be antiques, and then he goes on eBay and he sells them. keeps the arbitrage, the positive arbitrage. Buys it for 5, sells it for 10. He just made $5. Or he goes in there and you know what I mean. You see it all the time on Facebook, and Facebook Marketplace, where you go and you buy something for cheap and then you sell it for a little bit more and you make the difference. That could be a great way to make additional income. You know, it's easy. It's with technology. It's super easy. Um, if you have a little bit more cash, you can buy an asset, a cash flowing asset. You know, like real estate, like a business. These are more. You're more of a seasoned investor at this point. Um, and so I wouldn't recommend that if you just like, hey, I've got cash, but I know nothing about business or I know nothing about real estate. I'd probably take a course first. I'd probably get around people that are already doing it first before, so you don't. There's nothing more painful than learning those lessons. Learning those lessons yourself, because they cost, they hurt. Your first real estate deal, if you got zero mentorship, it's gonna hurt. Your first business deal, if you have no experience in business, you've never ran a business before, you've never done anything with business, it's gonna hurt. And so, me personally, I always believe in investing in coaches. I have coaches for, man, I used to have a coach for fitness. I've got a coach for business. I've got a coach for personal development. I've got a financial coach. I've got all those coaches. I think it's very important. It helps me get to where I am today to where I want to be so much faster. And so I want to save time. And the last one, you can do like affiliate marketing too. So affiliate marketing, when you go on like Amazon, and it's kind of the same thing as a side hustle if you're doing like garage selling, except you're doing it through a company. So there's like affiliate marketing websites where you can go, you can create email lists, and you know what I mean. You can just kind of market to your list, and you can sell products that you believe in, that you've used. I mean, you see it all the time on Facebook, right? You see these people that are like, "Hey, go buy this product; it's amazing," and they post it on their Instagram, and they do this, and then they'll get a percentage of that sale depending on what the affiliate marketer pays. So if they pay 5% on each sale, then you're going to get 5% of each sale that goes through your link. And so that's a good way if you don't have a lot of time, you got a little bit of time to kind of make content videos. You can do that, or just like quick posts. And so especially if you have a big following, I'd say that too. So that's good. But with that, hear me out. If you follow this tip and you get additional income, you get additional form of income coming in, do not, hear me out, do not take that additional income and then buy more junk. I've seen this. The reason I was saving this for the end is because I've seen this. I've had employees, I've had business partners, I've known, man, just friends, family that will make additional, 3 or 4 grand a month in side hustle, and then they spend 3 and 4 grand in more junk. No assets, like all liabilities. I'm gonna buy this new truck. I'm gonna buy this new car. I'm gonna go out to eat more. I'm gonna go and go out to eat 3 or 4 times more now. I'm gonna go and buy these new clothes or new watches. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's the craziest thing for me. Just because I don't think it makes sense. I understand why people do it. Trust me, I get the psychology behind it, right? But if I'm your coach, if you're going to let me coach you for a second right now, don't do that. Please, whatever you make on your side hustle, don't even touch it. Put it into a separate account. Maybe put it in your, you can do it in a brokerage account if you want to have, if you want to create income through investing, keep it in that brokerage account, keep growing it. If you want to do, have it in a Roth IRA or whatever the case may be, use that extra money and straight put it into an account where you don't even see it, and build it, and hopefully invest it. I wouldn't just save it. I would put it right into an investment and keep it going, keep it growing. But don't touch it. I mean, seriously, like, the whole point of it is to create this income, to be able to buy investments so that those create more income for you, so that, when you do retire, you're going to have a big chunk of money versus you have nothing. And you're on Social Security, and you don't know how you're going to pay your bills and all that kind of stuff. And so, please, hear me. Like, if you follow tip 1 and you get additional form of income, please don't touch that income. Have it come in, allocate it towards a savings account, an investment account, brokerage account, tax preferred account, whatever, wherever. Like, put it into something that is not going to be in your checking account. Because your checking account, you're going to go buy dumb stuff. Like, I've seen this. Please, don't do it. Don't do it. Um, your second one. Hopefully that makes sense, right? Like if you're going to live on the margin, you need to create additional income to come in so that you can use it for investing. You got listen. This is a foundational principle here. You have to invest. Okay, like if you want to be financially free or you want to be somewhat taken care of when you get older, you have to invest. There's too many people out here that do zero investing. That is that's a bad idea. That is a really really bad idea. Um, you know what I mean? And I can elaborate. I can have my own section on why that's a bad idea. If you're not investing at all, maybe I'll just have that for one day where it's just like hey, this is why this is a bad idea not to invest. I can definitely do that if that makes sense. If you guys kind of want to hear more on that, I can do that for sure. But yeah, you need to be principle number one. You need to be investing in something. You already are investing in something. Um, I could look at your money and tell you exactly what you're investing in. It's probably McDonald's, right? You're probably buying too much McDonald's, or you're investing in clothes, or whatever the case may be. I need you to invest in assets. So, yeah. So maybe I should phrase it this way: you're already investing, but you need to be investing in assets. Bingo. Second one, and this is for my seasoned investors. So I apologize if that's not you yet. You know what I mean? Don't feel left out. I want to reach those guys and girls as well, because um, you know what I mean. They're not just there's nothing wrong. We're all on the level we're supposed to be at, right? We're all growing. We're all trying to get to where we want to go. But for my seasoned investors, people that have a little more coin, maybe $50,000 to $100,000, or even more than that, right? $100,000 to $1,000,000 or $500,000, whatever the case may be. I would personally, this is an opinion, this isn't fact. This is just me coaching you. This is just me from where the market is today, and today is 4/20/2022. And so, what I would personally recommend today during the market is I would invest in a business versus a piece of real estate today. Okay. I know a lot of people they're investing in real estate. That's kind of all they do. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. Just what I would do today, and I can get more into this. But if I had money today, which I do, which this is exactly what I'm doing, I would invest into a business versus a piece of real estate for my first investment. If you have the capital. Okay, so why? First one, and I kind of talked a little bit about ROI, and what's kind of cool about these videos too is I get to introduce words that maybe you haven't heard before. Maybe you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? ROI. And so I kind of get to be, a teacher. This is like my own university. This is pretty cool. So ROI, and I explained this in the last video, but it's return on investment. And so return on investment is, hey, I invest $100,000 today. What is going to be my return on that $100,000 a year from now, right? And so what you do is, what is the cash flow you're going to get monthly on that, times that by 12. If it's going to be a fixed number, like real estate's pretty easy, right? If I invest $100,000 and I'm getting $1,000 a month, times that by 12, it's going to be $12,000. $12,000 divided by $100,000 is going to give you your ROI percentage, right? So how much you're like 40% or 20%, whatever the case may be. So with that, with real estate, maybe it's $12,000. Your return on investment on your $100,000 is going to be $12,000 that year, and every year, right? If it stays the same, unless you know what I mean, you bump your prices up. Inflation's going on right now, and you can up those rental prices. If the market's hot for rentals, you know what I mean, or you upgrade your property. There's other ways to kind of increase it with rental properties. So rental properties, I'm not saying are bad. I just think businesses are better, right? So ROI, meaning I think a business, I'm not going to say I think, right? I know a business can give you a way better return on investment than real estate. It's harder. Don't get me wrong, it's harder. You gotta depending on the business, you got to learn the business, you got to learn how to market, you got to sell, all this kind of stuff, but your return on investment's not even close. You're making 8% in real estate. In business, you can make over 100% in the first year. If I invest 100K into a business the first year and buy it, or get a loan and then, get a loan for 20% and I buy that business, dude, I could make 300, 400, 1,000% on that money first year. 1,000% is a little crazy, don't get me wrong, but it's possible. I've seen it. So you could literally make a killing on your return on investment in business versus real estate. But business is a little harder, right? So like business, you got to make sure that you have the time to commit to that, and it's something that you want to do, something that you want to be invested in and kind of run, or have the right manager. For my sub absentee investors, have the right manager to come in place to help run that for you. Just because you own a business doesn't mean you have to do all the work. Hire a manager, hire a great GM that knows the business. And guess what? When you buy existing businesses, most of the time they have a great GM already there. Or they have a great person that loves the business, that wants to do more. There's so many things you can do with that. You can give him a percentage of equity in the business if like he's just fantastic and you want to keep him. And he's going to run that business better than you ever will because now he's invested. You gave him a part of that business. That's a strategy you can do. Or you can just pay him a little more, or whatever the case may be. Whatever it is, there's so many different strategies. That would take a whole hour podcast to go over strategies, or video, not podcast, to go over strategies on how to hire a great GM and to make sure that you have to do nothing but just kind of get cash flow from your business. So ROI, increase cash flow, like we talked about, right? So ROI would be your return on investment for the full year. Your cash flow is going to be your monthly cash flow. And so with real estate, maybe you make an extra $1,000, but that $1,000, maybe 200 of it you're putting into account just in case for emergencies. Maybe you're having someone, kind of run that piece of real estate for you. So maybe you pay them, $100. So maybe you're down to a cash flow of $700, which is good. That's $700 you didn't have. But with business, your cash flow could be amazing, right? You could take a percentage of the business profits and then funnel it into your salary or funnel it into your shareholder distributions. I'm not going to get too much into tax stuff, but there's ways where you can make a crap ton of cash flow tax advantaged. I can't talk to you about that because I'm not a CPA, but I used to do that. I do that today in my business, my moving and storage company, where I get a salary, but then I get a shareholder distribution, and it's phenomenal. So I would talk to your CPA if you are going to get a business and talk about, and that's an S corp. C corp, I don't think you can do that, but I know S corp for sure. Faster accumulation and extra cash to buy additional assets. And so I think one of the big reasons, me personally, right? So right now, I share it on my investment journey. I share it every week or every 2 weeks. I'm buying a franchise. I'm going to buy a couple franchises, right? I'm going to buy one franchise, but I'm going to buy multiple locations or multiple territories. Now, Brian, why would you do that when you have all this money? You could just buy some real estate. Well, the reason why I'm buying a franchise first, or even just a regular business. So I'm choosing franchise because franchise, I've already built a business. It takes time. It took us 6 years to build it to a $1 million company. And people can do it faster for sure, and people can do it better. But it took us that long for it to be a $1 million company. I can buy a franchise and it could become a $1 million company in 2 years. You know what I mean? Like maybe 3 if I'm really slow. So I can cut my time in half and have it where all the systems are already built. I don't have to build those systems. Oh yeah, and I can sell it, or I can keep it, and the name brand is going to get me top dollar versus a homegrown company that is not a franchise yet. I'm going to get more like 4x or 2x on my cash flow than I would with a local company. And so with that, here's kind of my thought process on that. And maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, who knows? But I buy 2 franchises. Say they're spitting out, let's say $10K a month for my salary. $10K a month, they're doing great. Boom, boom. So each are 10K, 10K. So I'm making 20 grand a month. Boom, boom, boom. I take 20% of that or 30% of that and I don't even touch it, right? I put it into a separate account. My investment account, like I told you guys about your additional form of income, you're doing a little side hustle. I take 30% of that and I put it into another account. And it's just growing and growing and growing. By year 1 or 2, I'll have enough money to buy another asset. So I can buy a piece of real estate after that. Or I can buy another business. Ooh, say these businesses are easy. I got them all set up. My GM's killing it. I'm just kind of sitting back collecting money. I have to go in every once in a while to make sure that they're not burning the place down. You know what I mean? Like just kind of doing checks, make sure the money's right, everything's right, customers are happy, the culture is fantastic. I can either buy another piece of real estate or I can buy another business that much faster. If I only own one piece of real estate or two pieces of real estate, it's going to take me so much longer in time to be able to get that cash, to be able to use it, and then get another loan to buy another business, right? But if I have two businesses that are producing way more cash flow, and again, the equity on the businesses is still going to be great because it's a business, right? I can always sell the cash flow to the bank to give me a higher loan, right? And so I go in there and I've got two factories now producing cash flow, and I'm taking a percentage of that, putting it into there just to get a down payment for another franchise. Boom, I buy another one. And then now I've got three, right? And I've kind of explained this in the last video, but I want you guys to get it. It's so much faster. Your greatest asset in this life is your time. How fast can you create these assets to be able to create as much income as you can, right? To buy more assets to where it's like you don't have to work anymore. You retire your wife, you retire your husband. You're just the CEO, right? You're the CEO of all these companies, and you're making sure everything's going great, and then you can live off the cash flow. And there are great tax benefits as well. And so that's why I think business versus real estate, because it's so much faster. You can buy assets faster. Real estate, it might take you a while, right? And they might not be as good as cash flowing, right? So maybe you have the equity to buy more, but maybe you're still only clearing like $200 a month in cash flow. Well, how long is it going to take you to buy enough assets where your cash flow is going to cover all of your expenses where you're financially free? There's this thing where, you know, you're stuck, right? Until all of your assets can cover your expenses. You're pretty much stuck in the rat race. You know, Robert Kiyosaki talks about this brilliantly. I can never do as much justice as he does on it because he's fantastic when he talks about this. But say my expenses monthly are $5,000. Well, I need to have enough assets where they cover the $5,000 cash flow with me not even have to be there. And that might be my first business. That's how quick it can be. You know, but what's going to happen? I might buy a house or I might buy something else. So I'm going to need another asset to cover that cash. I'm going to need another asset to cover that liability, those expenses. And so the faster you can do that, the more you're going to be financially free, and the more you can go and do the things that we kind of started this video off with, right? It's like we started off with wanting to be free and do the things that you want to do and experience and buy and visit and all these things that you want to do before you die, before your time's up, before you're retiring and you're broke, you know? So like the faster you get this done, the faster you can start getting this in your mind that you can do it and then start doing it, the more time you're going to have in your good years, right? These are our great years. I'm young, I'm healthy, I'm fit. I can go hike mountains I want to hike. I can do these adventures that I want to do. I can do the crazy things because I'm still young. Versus when you get older, you really can't do the same experiences. The type of experiences you can do are going to be shrunk, right? And you'll never get to do the things that you wanted to do when you're young and healthy because now you're so old and kind of fragile, right? So again, time's your greatest asset. Yeah, man, the first one again is you need to get additional stream of income. The second one is buy business versus real estate for your first one. Take courses first, of course, prepare yourself. Don't just go in and buy a business. Don't do that. I promise you, I have a lot of bruises and marks on my body from my first business on lessons learned. I mean, they still hurt to this day. So I would advise getting a coach, consultant, someone that's going to kind of check your blind spots and things that you don't know And but I would definitely advise getting a business first. You're going to be able to buy more assets faster, and you're going to be able to grow your net income, your wealth, and your cash flow that much faster. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it went a little longer. I had to, God put that in my heart in the beginning just to share that with you guys. And then I had to go over my tips, and then these tips are a little more complicated, so I had to go a little bit more into detail with it. But if you guys have any questions, again, hit me up. I have my page. It's at bhoey IBC, and you can hit me up my personal, whatever the case may be. My phone number's on there as well. I'd love to chat with you guys. I'm so glad you guys are on this journey with me. We have to take back our financial education. We have to educate ourselves, and more importantly, we have to educate our kids. They can't know, you know what I mean? We can't. We have to do a better job at passing this information down the road, or they're going to be exactly where you are, and you know what I mean, and they're going to be stuck. And so our goal as parents, as educators, as coaches, mentors, is to teach the younger generation the things that we know and things that we wish we knew, right, at a younger age, so that we can help them get to where they should be. Okay. So thank you guys so much. I love you guys. Happy Wednesday, hump day. Let's get it. And I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.